Hey guys, interesting news today. We still see the echo of the tsunami and we also see now how it was spreading across the Pacific. But interesting, now a satellite image has surfaced of the Russian military base where it really seems that one of their nuclear submarine ports is damaged. So we will have a look at this. There's more information about this. And the animation that I'm about to show you here, it's really interesting. That's the animation of the tsunami that has been caused by this violent magnitude 8.8 mega earthquake in Kamchatka. And if you look at that at this animation, it's easier to get an idea of how complex, extensive and lasting events like this are. And it has been almost 3 days now that the entire Pacific has been disturbed by the waves that have been caused by this tsunami. The waves are reflected by submarine mountain ranges, coastal areas of islands and entire continents. It's basically just like in a gigantic pond, or how I always say, in your own bathtub. If you create tsunamis and they clash on one end and come back, and then they get smaller and smaller, but it takes a while to ease out. So we're still watching right now. It's still happening, the echo of the tsunami that happened. And that animation has been produced by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So I think that is really interesting. So despite the fact that more than 2 days have passed since the magnitude 8.8 earthquake, we see massive aftershocks in the large and high magnitudes in Kamchatka. The Pacific waters have not calmed down. That's why I'm showing you this other diagram that also shows you. Let's take it as an example from Crescent City in California in the USA, because this was the place where they said if it hits the West Coast, that's the most vulnerable place. So there's a sea station in Crescent City, and you can clearly see how the sea level has not yet returned to the bottom level. The tsunami, however, it is small, but it's still spreading all the time. And I can show you here some port, and look at this corner here at the right bottom corner, how the boats are going up and down, and how they were going up and down by these tsunami waves. So as I said, what we're seeing here on the diagram is also the echo of the original tsunami, the first wave that was caused by the earthquake. And when the first anomalous waves crashed on the coast of the Pacific facing countries, a portion of them was reflected in the impact and then fled back to the open sea. It was basically pushed back, where it continued to spread for thousands of miles until then, many hours later, it reached the coast of the opposite part of the Pacific, where they reflected themselves again. I just said, try this in your bathtub. Have your leg underwater and then lift it. You're creating a tsunami. So this process can be repeated several times, making this tsunami wave survive for a few days actually from its initial formation. And that's what we're seeing here in the animation, but also in this diagram. But interestingly enough, we have now satellite images that show that this Kamchatka earthquake seems to have done some damage to Russia's submarine stronghold. Of course, they got more tsunami impact, they had the shaking. So it seems that how they call it, a pier shifted at a terrifying angle when the wave crushed into their Pacific Fleet dock. And there the tsunami was, of course, more powerful than in Crescent City. It has reportedly struck Russia's secret nuclear base in Kamchatka. And the satellite images show severe damage to the pier at the Rybaki base. That's a key facility of Russia's Pacific Fleet. And you can see here in the circle on this image how this seems to be cracked or disangled, dislocated in some way. And we have to understand, July 30th, magnitude 8.8 makes it the strongest earthquake globally since 2011, and it ranks among the top 10 earthquakes ever recorded in the whole world. So it seems one of the docking structures was displaced. According to Umbra Space, they have obtained the satellite image and they say it's at a terrifying angle, and that could indicate that the pier may have been partially torn from its foundation. They say that no submarine was docked at the time of the impact, but what's raising serious concerns, if we have nuclear submarines there, it seems that the base has quite a high vulnerability, and that's raising concerns. And another thing that adds to this, that they do have satellite images that show that there was a submarine moored at that pier as recently as July 17th. That nuclear fleet base is only 75 miles away from the epicenter, from that Megathrust mega earthquake, the 8.8. So it's not far away. So it got the shaking, and very, very quickly it got the tsunami. And Rybaki is located in Avacha Bay. And that base hosts Russia's newest, how it's called, Bore class submarines, but also older Delta class submarines. That's what they are called. And nearby facilities also include the Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky and other strategic military sites. So to have your important strategic military sites near such a disaster-prone area is, of course, risky, as we can see now. The news that are coming from the Kremlin, they're saying that their infrastructure is fully earthquake-proof, but experts are warning that even minor pier damage could compromise combat readiness. So what we see there on the satellite picture, does that have a larger impact than we might estimate? Is this worse than it might look for us? We have no clue about what we're really looking at, right? So there's lots of voices from experts that question the safety of fleet concentration in one port. And that definitely makes sense, that if you have so many submarines in just one location, that's a strategic risk anyways for not only earthquakes and tsunamis, also like strikes from other countries. That's why experts are saying this is why having multiple bases is a good idea, because you never know when you're going to get rogered by something you haven't seen coming. This is the quote from a retired Royal Navy officer, Tom Sharp, and I think he's right, absolutely. He gave an interview and he criticizes the construction of the pier. He says it looks classically Russian, taped on. I don't know, guys, really, no judgment here, because Russian sources deny any major damage. It could cast doubts about their Pacific Fleet's readiness for emergency scenarios, but I don't think anybody knows for sure. They have the satellite images. Let me know what you think, guys. Definitely interesting. And if you want to know more, guys, subscribe, watch the videos in the end screen. If you want to fill me up with coffee to keep me going, it's greatly appreciated. Check the links in the description of this video. There's a link to my Buy Me a Coffee site. Click the join button to become a monthly supporting member of the channel. And thank you for your supers. Thank you for being channel members. Thank you for the coffee, guys. Thanks for watching and commenting. I see you in a second if you click one of the videos, one of the 4 that are here in the end screen. Bye-bye.